North of Africa, we find the largest country in the continent, in the Arab world and in the Mediterranean basin, Algeria, the second largest oil reserves in the continent. Today in the company of His Excellency Abd-El-Naceur Belaid. Morning, Ambassador.
Morning, Ambassador.
How are you? Excellency, as Ambassador of Algeria to South Africa, how would you define your diplomatic tour in the region thus far? How long have you been in South Africa? And are there any moments or events that have stood out for you?
Thank you once again, Rodrigo. I came to South Africa on June 2013. I come to South Africa straight from Addis Ababa. I was Ambassador, Permanent Representative of Algeria to the African Union. For me, when His Excellency President Abdelaziz Bouteflika appointed me to South Africa, it was really a very great professional, but also personal satisfaction. You know, the historical relationships between Algeria and South Africa, and for me to serve in the land of Madiba, it was some things which is really fantastic. In South Africa, you know, this beautiful country with very good and excellent infrastructures, and also very rich in terms of political experience, economic experience, scientific knowledge. It is really, I enjoyed and I'm still enjoying my stay in this sisterly country, and I am still discovering. I was yesterday in Cape Town, and I have the opportunity to move from one place to another place. It is always a very good surprise for me. One date that marked me, I came, it was in 2013, and it was, you remember, on December of that year, the passing away of the icon Madiba. It was really, for me, I was looking at the history. As Hegel said one day in Berlin, he said, I am looking at the history on a horse. This is, for me, it was really a very, very particular experience that marks my life.
Thanks. Often the role of a diplomat can be somewhat glamorized, when in truth, I know as a former ambassador myself, that the job has its hardships as well, such as the difficulties involved in relocating from one end of the continent to the other. Are you here with your family? How have they adapted, and how has their overall stay been thus far?
Yes, I am here with my family, but only with my wife, as my children are not anymore young children. They are relatively old, and they took the independence. But you know, when we move from one country to another one, from a continent to another one, I think that my family got the necessary experience to manage these changes in your lives, because I'm in the diplomatic corps since 1980. It means even my family got this experience, and I think that they succeed in managing the effects. Don't want to say consequences, but effects of these changes, and also of the diplomatic life. You know, Rodrigo, you are ambassador. You know how it is not always easy, because every 4 years, an average of 4 years, you face new conditions of life. It is richness, but at the same time with some constraints. social, familial constraints. But it's our job. We manage it.
Exactly a year ago, in March 2016, President Zuma arrived in Algiers on a state mission for the sixth session of the Binational Commission. There, the two presidents discussed bilateral collaboration in areas of agriculture, energy, higher education, as well as sports and recreation, to name but a few areas of interest. Could you elaborate on this visit and about its progress and about what has been achieved together since?
Yes, His Excellency President Jacob Zuma had the state visit to Algeria in 2015. It was that visit was a real momentum in the bilateral relations, and the results of that very, very important visits covered all the aspects of bilateral, not only cooperation, but also relations. You know that Algeria and South Africa established one of the first, what we call, high binational commission. It is one of such a commission in the history of South Africa. Because of the historical relations, these very excellent political relations, and also because of the potential of a real partnership between the two countries that we want to make as an exemplary in Africa. It means that that visit gave a new impetus to these relations. And now we are working with the South African partner to implement the results and the decisions of that session of the Commission. If you allow me, I shall give you another example that is helping us very, very much. It was the African Forum on Investment and Business that Algeria organized last December 2016. We had the South African delegations, representatives of groups, companies. It was the largest participation to this African Economic Forum of Algiers. It was the largest in Africa. We had more than 150 participants from South Africa. And we even organized a special flight. Johannesburg, Algiers, Algiers, Johannesburg. And we are now, every day, when I come from the embassy to this place, I received 2 messages. As a kind of follow-up, we are near to, and we started with some companies to establish a real partnership between the Algerian companies and the South African companies. This is on the line of the orientation and decisions of the Binational Commission.
Algeria is South Africa's largest trading partner in the region, accounting for 32% of total trade in Northern Africa. Total exports to Algeria are valued at 1 billion rands annually, while imports are valued at 86 million rands. What is the nature of these trade relations with Algeria, and what is being traded? Additionally, do you have a Chamber of Commerce or trade attaché in your mission?
I shall start by answering to the last sub-question. Yes, since last year, now we have an economic trade attaché at the embassy, and the South African side also appointed an economic and trade attaché to the embassy in Algiers, because precisely of this strong dynamics we launched with the implication of the actors, economic and trade actors. Now, as far as the volume and the nature of bilateral trade, this first, it covers all the sectors. But what is important, as I said, is that now we are near to make a new big step in this bilateral economic and trade bilateral relations. Even the contacts now, we have almost every 2 months big conference and meetings with chambers of commerce, and just on the 22nd of March we shall have a big event with brand South Africa in Rosebank. This and it was a success by the number of the participants, by the quality, and also by the conclusions. Now, what we are doing is to bring people together, is to bring economic and trade actors together. And this formula, it is really very, very fruitful. And we put the train on the best rails. And the result, as I said, started to appear. And in the next months, this result will be more and more evident.
The majority of your population today are Berbers. Nevertheless, the country historically has been a place where many cultures started. We can name the Phoenicians, we can name the Romans, the Arabs, the French. How would you define Algerian culture? What music, dance, art, or craft would you say it's distinctively Algerian? And what are your government and citizens doing to nurture such cultural practices?
You know, during the last decades, a consensus appeared amongst the sociologists, the intellectuals, that the richness of a culture depends on its diversity. What is important is that from the Phoenicians, we took some parts of the cultures of the people that come to Algeria, not just as friends or as tourists. You know, Algeria is in a very strategic position. It is a very rich country. And you develop the appetite of the invaders. But we always resisted. And now the culture of resistance in the Algerian cultures is central. And we always succeed to preserve the Algerian personality. And in this culture, you will find some elements that are inherited from this. For example, when we talk about any aspects of the culture, let's say cuisine, you know, Algeria is the land of couscous. This is the common denominator. But because of the richness of the culture, we have at least 200 ways of preparing couscous.
Wow.
From one region to another one. Some regions are preparing with fish, with lamb, with veal. We take it as richness. And we think that, especially now in globalization, it's very important to integrate without losing your personality. This is very, very important. Is to keep your personality and to benefit from important aspect. But see, the Algerian nation as a state exists for more than 2,000 years. We still are the same. Only the name changed through history. The name was Numidia, now Algeria. And this culture of resistance, for example, the first African head of state to see Africa for Africans, it was an Algerian king, Massinissa, when he was fighting against Roman Empire. He received a message of threats from the Roman Emperor saying that I shall come to Africa, I shall do this. And he met the challenge in his answer. And before signing King Massinissa of Numidia, he said, Africa for Africans. This is, and you go through history until our glorious liberation war from 1954 to 1962. And this, it forged even the culture, even the policy and politics of Algeria. You see, for example, why Algeria is so sensitive about the right of the peoples to self-determination. And you could, from that, to see why Algeria was supporter number one of the African peoples, and more than African peoples, fighting, struggling for their liberation. This is the outcome of very long history. We can talk about also more about culture. When I was ambassador to Tanzania, someone came to me to propose, Mr. Ambassador, why we don't make a show of the Algerian traditional dress? He told me one evening, I told him, no, my brother, it's not possible one evening. I did at least 2 weeks. Because if you look at the richness of just traditional dress, especially of women, you cannot believe. You go from traditional woman dress of $1,000 and $1,000 to $10. This is according to the specificities of the region, the climate, and so on. But there is a matter of fact. We didn't make the promotion. It is just during this last year that we are promoting that, and we shall receive, we shall organize cultural season of Algeria in South Africa in the next forthcoming months. And it is just during this last year that we are promoting tourism, for example.
Perfect. And in that line of thoughts, tourism, how would you describe tourism in Algeria? What attracts foreign visitors to your country? And what should one absolutely not miss if we are in Algeria? Any visa regulations for South Africans wanting to travel to Algeria?
For the South African citizen, they don't have any problem, let's say any problem to get visa to go Algeria, to go to Algeria, and it is a free visa. Now for tourism, I would like to give one website address, because there is a gallery of photos. You will see this unbelievable diversity of tourism in Algeria. It is www.embassyofalgeria and the line of the six, RSA-RSA, Republic of South Africa, .org. You enter to under culture, gallery of photo. Tourism in Algeria, you have sea tourism. We have 1,200 kilometers of coast, which is almost virgin. And we took the lessons from other experience to maintain protection of the Algerian coast. For example, in Algeria, you don't have the right to build beyond 300 meters from the beach. We have tourism of mountains. Now, if you go to Algeria, you will see the chains of mountains in the north full of snow. You can ski in Algeria.
Wow.
Yeah. We have Sahara. It is unique experience in the life of a human being to visit the Algerian oases, which are considered as the most beautiful in the world. Oasis of Tarit, Timimoun, Janet. We have also in Sahara the chain of mountain, Hogar, of our brothers, Tuaregs. It's the same. Because, as you said, Ambassador, as the largest African country, this gives us the chance to have the largest landscape. You go from snow to oases. We have even big potential for religious tourism. Many people maybe ignore that Saint Augustine, he was Algerian.
Wow.
Yes, at that time the name of Algeria was Namibia. He was born in the city of, the name today is Soukaras, and he spent his life in Annaba. The former name of Annaba was Hipon. You go there, you will see the Cathedral of Saint Augustine. It's something very fabulous. The Algerian state restored this cathedral, basilique, and we gave all the necessary attention for the protection of this very important legacy. For the Muslims, you have this famous, we call it confrérie. Confrérie, it is like school of practicing Islam, Tijaniya. The source of Tijaniya came from the heart of Algeria, in Madi. And Tijaniya is around, they have fellows around 400 millions. And now we have some Muslims coming for pilgrims to Ain Madi, Muslims belonging to Tijaniya, school of thought. And also what we call the immaterial legacy. It's something which is very, 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 very important. And many sites in Algeria are now classified by UNESCO as common heritage for the mankind. Many of them, and more sites and immaterial legacy is coming to be classified by UNESCO in this World Heritage.
Excellency, I'm sure that you have left our readers and viewers excited and looking forward to visit soon your country.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for your time today, and our pleasure to have had you here.
Thank you.
Ambassador Rick.
Thank you, Ambassador. It's my pleasure first to meet you again, and also for having giving me this opportunity, because as I said, we didn't make maybe the necessary marketing of what is Algeria, what Algeria is doing, and this is one of the opportunities to explain. Thank you very much, Ambassador. Thank you, it's my pleasure.